Let me say this right off the bat. Women aren't as mysterious as you've been led to believe. In fact, once you understand the psychology behind their behavior, emotions and desires, you'll realize something powerful. Getting a woman obsessed with you isn't about looks, money, or even being the nice guy. It's about knowing how her mind works. And in this video, I'm going to teach you exactly that. Welcome back to the channel, fellas. Today we're diving into one of the most controversial and eye-opening topics in modern dating. How to use female psychology to make almost any woman obsess over you. That's right. Not chase, not like, not even fall for you. I'm talking about obsession, the kind that keeps you on her mind day and night, the kind that flips the script and puts you in the position of power. Now let me be clear, this isn't manipulation, this is awareness. This is understanding the subtle psychological triggers that most men overlook and women will never admit to. Why? Because they're subconscious. They don't even realize they're reacting to them, but you will. What you're about to learn are 7 psychological tricks that tap directly into a woman's emotional wiring. These aren't pick-up lines or gimmicks. These are behavioral patterns, emotional signals and mindset shifts that flip the switch in her brain, and once it's flipped, she can't unsee you. She starts craving you, valuing you, even idealizing you. Most men spend their whole lives chasing women who barely notice them. After this video, you won't be one of them. You'll understand what really makes a woman obsessed, and more importantly, how to trigger it naturally. So buckle up, because once you learn these 7 tricks, you'll never look at women or yourself the same way again. Number 1. Ignore her beauty, praise her mind. Instead, most men fall into the same trap. They meet a beautiful woman, and the first thing out of their mouth is some version of, "Wow, you're so gorgeous," or "You're the most beautiful woman I've ever seen." And while that might seem polite or flattering, it actually does more harm than good, especially if you want to stand out and get into her head. Here's the hard truth. Attractive women hear compliments about their looks constantly. It means nothing to them. In fact, they've learned to filter it out. So, when you lead with her appearance, you instantly become another forgettable guy who's feeding her ego. She knows she's hot. You're just confirming it like every other dude. But if you really want her to notice you obsess over you and wonder why she's thinking about you long after you've gone, then here's the trick. Ignore her beauty. Instead, praise something about her mind, her insight, or the way she thinks. Women are rarely truly seen for who they are beneath the surface. Most men are so distracted by how they look, they never even notice how sharp, witty, or insightful a woman is. And that's where your power lies. Say you're talking to a woman who made an interesting comment about a book, a business idea, or even a perspective on relationships. You look her straight in the eye and say something like, "You know what? Most people never think like that. I can tell you actually pay attention to things most people overlook. That's rare." Boom. That's a compliment she doesn't hear every day. It taps into her identity. It tells her, you see what most men miss. And that hits different. The moment you stop drooling over her looks and start engaging with her mind, something flips in her. She becomes curious. She starts chasing your approval. Because now it's not about her looks. It's about something deeper, something she can't easily control. And that mystery is addictive. This approach also creates what psychologists call a value reversal. Instead of acting like you're lucky to talk to her, she starts feeling like she's lucky to have caught your attention in a meaningful way. That shift creates obsession, because now you're no longer another admirer. You're a challenge. And here's the real kicker. The less you talk about her looks, the more powerful your words become when you eventually mention them. If you drop a casual, "By the way, you're also stunning," after you've already connected with her on a deeper level, it lands 10 times harder because it's no longer empty flattery. It's validation from a man she respects. Bottom line, don't feed the part of her that everyone already sees. Feed the part she hides. That's how obsession starts. Number 2. Pull away when she wants you close. This one messes with a woman's head in a way she won't even be able to explain to herself. And it works because it flips the emotional script most men follow. See, when a woman starts showing more interest, when she texts more, calls more, gets a little clingy, most guys think, yes, I finally got her. Now I need to match her energy so I don't lose her. So they go all in. More attention, more messages, more time. But that's exactly when you shouldn't lean in. Here's the truth that's hard to hear but powerful once you understand it. Women don't obsess over men who are always available. They obsess over men who create emotional tension. And the best way to create that tension is by pulling away. At the moment she starts pulling in, not ghosting, not playing games, just being slightly less available than she wants. Just enough to make her feel like she's not fully sure where she stands with you. That space, those few unanswered messages, that slight delay in plans, that quiet moment when she expected noise, that's where her mind starts racing. Why? Because women crave emotional stimulation. Predictability kills attraction. When she knows she can have you anytime she wants, the thrill fades. But when she starts to feel like she almost has you, you activate a completely different part of her psychology. She starts wondering, is he losing interest? Did I say something wrong? Why am I thinking about this so much? Congratulations, you're in her head. Most men are terrified to pull back, especially when things seem to be going well. But that's exactly why it works. When you resist the urge to smother her with affection and instead stay grounded in your own energy, you show her something she rarely sees. A man with options, a man who's not emotionally needy, a man who enjoys her but doesn't need her. That energy is addictive. Now, this doesn't mean you treat her coldly or ignore her completely. It just means you maintain control of the pace. You don't speed up just because she does. You don't validate every emotion or jump every time she reaches out. You keep a bit of mystery. You stay centered. That subtle emotional distance is what keeps her chasing. And here's the kicker. When you do show affection, it becomes more powerful, more real. Because she knows it's not coming from a place of desperation. It's a gift, not a plea. Pulling away when she wants you close creates emotional gravity. She leans in harder, trying to figure you out, trying to win you over again. And that's exactly where you want her. Engaged, unsure, and obsessed. Number 3. Make her jealous subtly. Now let's get into something that makes a lot of guys uncomfortable. Jealousy. Most men are scared to even touch this topic. They think making a woman jealous is toxic, manipulative, or childish. But here's the truth. When done subtly and with confidence, jealousy is one of the most powerful emotional triggers you can activate in a woman. Let me explain. Jealousy isn't about trying to hurt her or make her insecure. It's about reminding her without saying a word that you're valuable, desired, and not just sitting around waiting for her validation. Here's the mistake most men make. The moment they get a woman's attention, they drop everything and center their world around her. They stop talking to other women, stop having their own life, and start behaving like they've already won the prize. And guess what? That kills attraction fast. Because deep down, women want to compete for a man they believe other women want. That's how their psychology is wired. If no one else is interested in you, she starts wondering why she was. But if she senses even slightly that other women are drawn to you, she starts paying closer attention. This doesn't mean flirting in front of her or bragging about other women. That's childish and obvious. The key is in being subtle and unbothered. It's how you carry yourself. It's letting her see that you're socially in demand, that you don't need her attention, and that other women naturally enjoy being around you. No words, no show, just energy. And the beauty of this is that you don't even need to say anything about it. Women feel it. They pick up on every little social cue. If they know other women are noticing you, they automatically start viewing you as more attractive. It's like a switch gets flipped. Now, the moment she feels that slight twinge of jealousy, two things happen. 1, she starts wanting to win you again. 2, she starts thinking about you constantly, even when she tries not to. Jealousy, when used correctly, keeps her emotionally invested. It disrupts the routine. It breaks that comfort zone and introduces competition. And women are much more emotionally engaged when they feel like they need to secure your attention, not just sit back and receive it. The danger is going overboard. If you try too hard to make her jealous, it backfires and you come off as insecure or manipulative. But when it's done naturally through confidence, presence, and high social value, she starts fighting for your attention instead of assuming she already has it. Bottom line, a little jealousy makes her emotional, and emotional women become obsessed. Stay cool, stay confident, and let her feel like she's not the only one with options. Because once she realizes she could lose you, she'll do everything to keep you. Number 4, act like you could walk away any time. There's a different kind of power in a man who doesn't cling, a man who's not afraid to lose a woman because he knows he won't lose himself. That mindset alone separates you from 99% of men out there. Most guys, once they get a little affection, a few sweet words, or some intimacy, start acting like the relationship is their lifeline. They hold on tight, overthink everything, and start bending over backward just to keep her happy. And without realizing it, they give away all their power. Women don't obsess over men who act like they can't live without them. They become obsessed with the ones who remain centered, grounded, and completely unfazed by the fear of walking away. That kind of confidence makes a woman stop and question everything, because now you're not reacting to her behavior. You're setting the standard. You're not panicking over where things are headed. You're choosing whether or not she even gets to stay in your world. When you carry yourself like you could walk away at any time, it signals something deep. You're not emotionally dependent on her. You're not here because you need validation or affection. You're here because she adds value, and if that changes, you're gone. That's the frame that drives women crazy. Not in a toxic, chaotic way, but in a way that challenges them. It forces them to step up, to invest more, to wonder how to hold your attention. And that wondering, that's where obsession is born. Because you're no longer predictable. You're no longer emotionally at her mercy. You become the challenge, the one who doesn't give everything away just because she shows interest. That mystery makes her dig deeper. It makes her feel like she has something to prove. And that's exactly where you want her. Most women are used to men who are scared to lose them. Men who try too hard to keep the peace, to avoid conflict, to please at all costs. But when you break that pattern, when you show her that you're the kind of man who won't settle for half effort or emotional games, she sees you differently. She respects you. She thinks about you when you're not around. She starts chasing that feeling you give her because it's rare. Walking away isn't a threat, it's a standard. It's the unspoken message that says, I want you, but I don't need you. And when a woman feels that, she leans in, she invests, she becomes emotionally hooked. Because deep down, what she wants more than anything is a man who doesn't lose himself in her, but one who makes her want to be part of his world. Number 5. Be unpredictable. Never let her fully figure you out. There's something dangerous about being too consistent in how you show up with a woman. Dangerous because it makes you easy to figure out. And the moment a woman feels like she has you all figured out, the excitement fades, the mystery dies. That edge you had when you first met starts to disappear. Why? Because human nature is drawn to unpredictability. We get emotionally invested in what we can't fully understand, and women are no different. When you're unpredictable in a smooth, controlled, intentional way, you stay on her mind. You create emotional tension. She starts thinking, what's he going to do next? What's on his mind? Why does he seem different today? That tension, that curiosity becomes obsession, not because you're playing games, but because you're not robotic. You're not repeating the same behaviors, responses, and energy day after day. You keep her emotionally engaged without even trying. This doesn't mean you need to be unstable or inconsistent in your values. It means you stop being so routine with your energy and responses. If you always text back right away, switch it up. If you always compliment her the same way, stop doing it so predictably. If you always initiate plans, take a step back and let her wonder if she'll hear from you this time. That subtle unpredictability is what keeps her emotionally alert. Let's say you usually have a deep, serious tone when you talk to her. You're insightful, thoughtful, grounded, but one night you randomly flip the vibe. You get playful, tease her a little. Say something that catches her off guard in a good way. She'll laugh, maybe blush, but most importantly, she'll feel something new. That emotional shift plants itself in her mind. She goes to bed thinking about it. Not because it was dramatic, but because it broke the pattern. Women crave emotional variety. If they can predict every word and every move you'll make, they start emotionally checking out. When they feel like there's always a new layer to you, something they haven't quite figured out, they stay hooked. They invest more time, more thought, more emotion into trying to decode you. And that's exactly what you want. The goal is to never become a routine. Routine makes you boring. Predictability makes you forgettable. But unpredictability done with charm, self-awareness, and a calm presence makes you unforgettable. It triggers that ancient part of the female mind that equates mystery with value. So don't be the guy who says the same thing, reacts the same way, and shows up with the same energy all the time. Be the guy who's consistent in confidence but unpredictable in presence. Because when a woman can't fully figure you out, she starts building stories in her head. She starts imagining, obsessing, and chasing what feels just out of reach. And once you're in her head like that, it's almost impossible for her to let go. Number 6. Trigger her competitive side with other women. Whether they admit it or not, most women are naturally competitive when it comes to men they find desirable. They may play it cool on the surface, but when a woman sees that other women are paying attention to you, laughing at your jokes, engaging with you, trying to be close, something shifts. Your guard goes up, but not to push you away. It goes up because now she feels like there's something to protect, something to win, something worth fighting for. You see, most men believe that the moment they find a woman they like, they should drop everyone else and focus only on her. Be loyal from day one. Show her she's the only one on the radar. And while that seems sweet and honorable, it often has the opposite effect. It removes the element of challenge. It removes urgency. It makes her feel like she already has you completely, and she didn't even have to try that hard. But when she notices that other women find you attractive, interesting, or fun to be around, it activates a different part of her psychology. It becomes about status, about proving to herself that she can stand out in the crowd. Women hate the idea of being replaceable, especially when they're emotionally invested. So when they see that you have options, and those options are real and present, it forces them to up their game. This doesn't mean rubbing other women in her face. That's obvious and desperate. It's more about living in a way that naturally attracts attention without needing her to be the center of your world. It's about being socially aware, charismatic and confident enough that women are drawn to you, and she knows it. When a woman feels like she's competing even subtly, she becomes more alert. She pays more attention to what you say, how you respond, and how much energy you're giving. She stops taking your presence for granted, and that shift in mindset is exactly what makes her chase. Because now you're not just some guy hoping she'll pick you. You're the guy she wants to keep other women away from. You're the guy she wants to win over completely. That emotional competition makes her feel more invested, more aware, and more addicted to the connection. And here's something most men never realize. Once a woman starts seeing other women wanting you, your value skyrockets in her mind. Not because you changed anything about yourself, but because her perception of you changed. Suddenly you're no longer just a guy who likes her. You're the guy that other women like too. And if they like you, maybe you're even more valuable than she thought. Fearing that competitive side taps into something ancient and instinctive. It makes her want to prove herself, to stand out, to claim her place by your side. And once she's in that state of mind, it becomes a lot harder for her to walk away. That's when obsession begins to grow. Number 7. Give her attention, then take it away. Too many men are desperate for connection, and it shows. They meet a woman, get a little attention back, and suddenly they flood her with validation, compliments, time and energy, like it's a faucet they can't turn off. And while their intentions might feel pure, what they don't realize is this: constantly giving attention without pulling back is the fastest way to kill attraction. Why? Because there's no contrast, no tension, no space for her to miss you, wonder about you, or even appreciate the attention you're giving in the first place. Look, this is where a lot of men need to wake up. You've been told to always be available, always be nice, always show her how much you care. And yes, being a good man matters. But being predictable, emotionally needy, and always accessible, that doesn't make her want you. It makes her bored. That endless stream of attention becomes background noise. It doesn't register. It doesn't spark emotion. It doesn't hit the way it should. What actually makes a woman obsessed is contrast. It's the experience of getting your attention and then losing it. It's the high of being seen, felt, and connected to you, followed by the space where she wonders where that energy went. That contrast creates emotional depth. It makes your presence valuable. And most importantly, it makes her chase it again. But most men never give her the chance to chase. They're too busy chasing her, always texting first, always asking to see her, always filling the silence because they're scared of losing her. And the irony is they lose her anyway. Not because they did something wrong, but because they never gave her a moment to feel the absence of their attention. So here's the wake-up call. Stop being scared to pull back. Stop acting like her response determines your next move. You are not a servant to her emotions. You are the source of the emotional roller coaster that keeps her hooked. That means giving her powerful, genuine moments of connection, and then going silent, going quiet, living your life, making her wonder. That tension is everything. It makes her replay your conversations. It makes her check her phone. It makes her feel the space you leave behind and crave the next moment you show up. Women means nothing if it's constant. It only matters when it's earned, when it's unpredictable, and when it feels like a reward. You don't need to beg for her time. You need to show her that your time is valuable, and that when she gets it, it means something. So stop overgiving. Stop being afraid of silence. Stop drowning her in attention and thinking that's love. Give it then, take it away. Let her feel that absence. Let her come to you. Because once she starts chasing your energy, you're not just some guy she likes. You're the guy she can't stop thinking about. Here's the truth. no one wants to say out loud. Women don't fall for the guy who gives them everything. They fall for the guy they can't fully have. That's the uncomfortable, controversial reality. The more available, predictable, and emotionally exposed you are, the less room there is for her to become obsessed. Women is born in tension, in mystery, in the emotional space where she's not sure if she's winning or losing you. That's what keeps her coming back. Not how nice you are, not how much you show up, but how much she has to earn your attention. And listen, this video wasn't about playing games. It's about understanding the psychological truth behind female attraction that most men ignore. You've been taught to lead with love, but nobody taught you how to lead with power. That's why you keep getting ghosted, ignored, or left on red. Not because you're not good enough, but because you're too easy to figure out. Number 8. Reward her with silence. Let me tell you a truth. Most men never learn silence is not just the absence of words. It's a signal, a weapon. And when used with intention, it becomes one of the most powerful forms of influence you have, especially with women. You see, most guys panic in silence. The second a woman pulls away, gives a short reply, or goes quiet, they react. They text again. They double down. They explain themselves. They beg to be heard. But the man who knows his value, the man who's anchored in his purpose, he doesn't flinch. He doesn't fill the space. He lets it breathe. That's what makes him different. But here's where it gets interesting. When used at the right moment, your silence doesn't feel like punishment. It feels like a shift in power. And for a woman who's used to attention, who expects validation, that shift hits hard. It creates an emotional imbalance that leaves her wondering, what just happened? Let me be clear, we're not talking about the silent treatment. That's immature. That's avoidance. No, what I'm talking about is selective silence, intentional space. A moment of withdrawal that says, I don't need to explain myself. I don't need to chase. I'm grounded in something bigger than this. And that silence becomes a reward. But only when it follows presence. Let me explain. If you've shown up with warmth, authenticity, and depth, if she's felt your energy, your attention, your insight, and then suddenly you go quiet, it lands like thunder after lightning. She notices the absence because you've made your presence matter first. This is key. If you're emotionally distant from the start, your silence means nothing. But if you've connected, if you've seen her, made her feel understood, and then you pull back, now that silence echoes, now it makes her reach. And when she reaches, you don't jump, you wait, you let the silence teach. Because here's what happens, she begins to associate your attention with value. It's not cheap, it's not constant, it's not automatic, it's earned. Think about this. We live in a world where everyone is constantly broadcasting, talking, commenting, DMing, seeking some form of response. But the man who doesn't rush to speak, he stands out. He becomes rare. And in the psychology of attraction, what's rare becomes desired. This is Stoicism in real life. You're not silent because you're unsure. You're silent because you're unmoved. You're choosing stillness over impulse. You're choosing clarity over reaction. And that emotional self-control, it's magnetic. So how do you apply this without being cold? Simple. You don't withhold to punish, you withdraw to center yourself. You don't ghost, you step back with presence. Your silence isn't confusion, it's clarity, a reset. And if she leans in curious, unsure, reaching for the connection again, now she's engaged emotionally, not just entertained, not just admired, engaged. But this only works when you've already made an impression. So don't be invisible. Don't be absent without presence. Build first, then retreat with precision. Because that contrast, that moment when your voice disappears, when your eyes aren't searching for hers, when your energy isn't chasing it, makes her feel something no compliment ever could. I don't own his attention. And suddenly she wants it more. If you've ever been the guy who talked too much, explained too much, tried too hard to fix things in words, try this instead, say less, hold the frame, let silence speak, and you'll see what used to be a weakness becomes your greatest pull. If that lands with you, type this in the comments. My silence has weight. And if you're starting to feel what this series is really about, not tricks, not tactics, but becoming a man whose presence can't be ignored, then subscribe right now. Because what's coming next, it'll show you how to break the rules without losing yourself. Stay silent, stay sharp. Number 9. Break her patterns gently. Let's get into something that most men don't even realize is happening until it's too late. Women live in emotional patterns, not just habits, not just routines, but emotional scripts they've rehearsed over and over again, scripts about how people respond to them, how attention works, how connection forms. And the guys who follow those scripts, they get slotted into the same mental category as every other man before you. Forgettable. But the man who gently disrupts that pattern not by force but by subtle redirection, he's the one who lingers in her mind. Why? Because you didn't play your part. You gave her something she didn't expect. Something that confused her logic but captured her interest. That's how obsession begins. Let me give you a simple example. She's used to getting attention for her looks. She posts a photo. She gets 200 hearts, 10 comments, 3 DMs. It's automatic. It's predictable. It's a dopamine cycle. Now you enter the frame. She expects you to play along, hit like, drop a compliment, react like the rest. But instead you don't. You respond offline. Or you say something that cuts through the surface. You acknowledge something about her mindset, her taste in books, her ideas, something no one else even noticed. And in that moment, the script breaks. She goes from another guy reacting to wait. Why is he different? That's emotional disruption. Now here's what most guys get wrong. They think disruption has to be aggressive, bold, loud. But that's just another version of the same thing, still predictable. Real power lies in being unpredictable. Quietly. You don't reject her patterns. You redirect them. For example, let's say she tests you. Maybe she withdraws, flirts with other guys in front of you, throws out a backhanded comment. Most men react. Get jealous, defensive, try to re-earn her attention. You smile, say nothing, or better acknowledge it without reacting emotionally, like, that was cute. Trying to see if I'll chase, then you move on. Now she's confused but intrigued, because her script didn't work, and people are fascinated by what they can't categorize. Stoicism teaches us to stay unmoved by externals. That includes games, manipulation, emotional chaos. When you break her patterns gently, you're not rejecting her, you're showing her that you can see through her defenses and still remain centered. That's incredibly rare, and that's where the deeper bond starts forming. Not in dominance, not in submission, but in that space where she realizes, this man doesn't need to overpower me, he just doesn't follow the same emotional rules everyone else does. That's unforgettable. Now here's the key. It must be gentle. This isn't about breaking her down. You're not trying to humble her or prove a point. You're simply creating friction in the right places, small surprises that make her recalibrate, reassess, re-engage. A compliment when she doesn't expect one. Silence when she tries to provoke you. Presence when she's used to emotional distance. Each move says, I'm not here to react, I'm here to lead energy. And women, whether they admit it or not, crave that. Not control, not domination, but presence with backbone. So the next time you sense she's pulling from a familiar emotional playbook, Don't attack it. Don't play into it. Just pivot. Slightly. Softly. And let her experience what it feels like to not be in full control of the narrative for once. It'll disarm her. In a good way. In a necessary way. And most importantly, it'll show her that you're not another scene in her movie. You're the director who rewrites the script. If you're starting to feel this, if you've been that guy who always followed her lead, who never broke the rhythm, then this is your moment to shift. Start small, break gently, but never follow the old script again. If that unlocked something for you, type this in the comments. I rewrite the frame. And if you're still here, still absorbing all of this, then you already know you're not meant to be average. Hit subscribe, because the next part, it's about building an emotional presence so powerful, she won't even realize she's falling in until it's already too late. Let's keep going. Number 10. Stay emotionally untouchable. Let's end with something that separates men who are unforgettable from those who are just a moment. Emotional untouchability. Now, before you get the wrong idea, this isn't about being cold. It's not about building walls, being distant, or acting like you don't care. That's not power, that's fear in disguise. What we're talking about here is something deeper, something quieter, something magnetic. The ability to remain centered no matter what emotion is thrown at you. You see, the average man is reactive. He's emotionally available in all the wrong ways. He gets high when she flirts, low when she's distant, anxious when she's cold, euphoric when she shows interest again. It's a cycle. And women know it. Many even subconsciously test for it. They want to feel your stability. They want to know you're not swayed by their mood swings, their silence, their emotional smoke screens. Because if you can be emotionally moved at will, you're not a man, you're a puppet. But when you're emotionally untouchable, now you're dangerous in the most attractive way possible. Because here's what happens. She flirts. You smile but stay still. She pulls away. You remain grounded. She provokes you with a jealous comment, a challenge, a let me see if he reacts moment. You see it. You recognize it. But you don't play into it. That kind of control, it creates fascination. Not because you're aloof, but because you're anchored. You're not trying to win her over. You're not here for emotional ping-pong. You've mastered your inner state, and that's rare. Stoicism teaches us that we are not our emotions, we are the observer behind them. We don't suppress our feelings, we just don't allow them to control our behavior. That's what staying emotionally untouchable means. It's emotional mastery. Stillness with strength. And trust me, when a woman meets a man like that, she feels it instantly. There's a calm in his energy, a precision in his attention. He doesn't respond fast because he doesn't need to. He doesn't react out of fear because he's not seeking validation. He listens. He holds eye contact, but his center untouched. And you know what that does? It makes her lean in, not physically, emotionally. Because every other guy, he gets flustered when she's distant. He over-explains, over-texts, chases clarity. But the emotionally untouchable man doesn't need clarity from her. He already has it from himself. And that level of self-containment, that's rare air. Here's how you build it. First, pause before you react. Always. Feel the urge to reply instantly. Wait. Feel the sting of a passive-aggressive comment. Don't flinch. Let stillness become your first language. Second, detach your worth from her response. Whether she praises or ignores compliments or criticizes, you stay the same. That doesn't mean you tolerate disrespect. It means you don't need an emotional boost or rescue. That's the strength she'll start craving. And third, build your emotional identity on something bigger than romance. Your discipline, your mission, your philosophy, your peace. Because when your emotions are shaped by who you've chosen to become, No woman, no reaction, no silence can shake that. Let her wonder how deep you go. Let her guess what you're thinking. Let her test you and fail to shake you. That's when she knows she's not dealing with a boy. She's dealing with a man who commands his own emotional world. And the truth is, when you become emotionally untouchable, you don't attract more chaos. You attract women who want peace, women who feel safe in your stillness, women who rise to meet your level of grounded presence. That's where real power lives. So if you've ever felt like you give too much, feel too fast, or fall too quickly into emotional spirals, this is your shift. Build the frame, hold it, live it, and soon you'll realize it's not what you say or even what you feel that makes her obsessed. It's what you don't react to. If this spoke to something deeper in you, drop this in the comments. My emotions serve me. So now you've got them 10 psychological shifts that don't just make you more attractive, they make you unshakable. But here's the truth most men miss. These tricks aren't about playing games. They're about becoming a man who no longer needs them to feel powerful. Because power isn't something you chase, it's something you embody. Every silence you hold, every pattern you break, every time you stay calm when others would fold. It's not just about women. It's about building a version of you that commands respect without ever raising your voice. If this video gave you clarity, if even one part of it hit home, then you already know what to do. Subscribe. Not just because I drop content daily, but because this isn't a channel. It's a space for men like you. Men who are done performing, done pleasing, and ready to own who they are. Thank you for spending your time here. I see you. And I'll see you again tomorrow. Stay grounded, stay sharp.